All right, so I've never told this story publicly. So first, so you got to understand that being a Latin pop musician is it's often like being a member of the Rat Pack, but in Spanish. So although I'd love to fancy myself as Dean Martin, let's face it, I'm probably Sammy Davis Jr. Right? So you could be going on about your business innocently, but crazy shit just happens, and this is true for musicians stateside too. A little danger is part of the biz. But as a Hindu, I'm usually the only one without a gun. And I'm not even sure I'd know what to do with one if somebody handed me one. So, all right, so this story. So on one of these crazy days, I was in Colombia. And I was tagging along with a friend who was creating a map of old school Escobar-style mansions. So upon approaching one, he decided to ring the bell and ask if we could see inside. All right, so an old lady answers this door and said it was okay for us to come in and look around. Right now it is important to note that my friend is super American white. All right, so although he had lived in Latin America for a while, he was still very noticeably not Hispanic. And I'm pretty sure he really didn't speak Spanish either. So he probably just, got away with a series of head nods, kind of like how I do in Asia. All right, so within minutes of us looking around this really amazing house. I mean, this house was amazing. Like it's funny because it kind of looked like a brownstone Queens, New York house from the outside, like everything kind of in Medellin does, right? It doesn't look that assuming from the outside. But once you walk in that front door, it was huge and totally what you would expect and see in the movies, like marble everywhere, like Greek and Roman statues. Everything was white and huge, like Greek style pillars. I mean, it was a spectacular house, all right? But within minutes of just kind of looking around this, it became quite clear that this was a very active cartel house. All right, and embarrassingly not my first cartel house either. It might have been my first in Medellin. Maybe, because there was one I was actually in when I actually hit on that Russian mobster's wife, but that's a whole nother story. All right, so but anyways, embarrassingly not my first cartel house, but like I said, that type of thing happens, right, in this business, right? And so I end up stumbling into these places more often than I like to admit. All right, so we're looking around this house, and pretty quickly after we walk in and are looking around, a local guy shows up with two tourists. Now, it's pretty common for local guys to show sleazy tourists around, so they can, get drugs and hookers and whatnot, and local guys get a commission. I actually thought about doing this for a living once because this seems like easy money. Because there's all you get is hang out in the airport. As soon as somebody white gets off the plane, chances are they're not in Colombia for good reasons, right? And so, anyways, by the way, I should mention that it was 2 in the afternoon. That's it. It's not like we're in the middle of the night. It's 2 in the afternoon, and a local guy shows up with these 2 tourists. A retired Texan guy who was older than dirt. I mean, this guy, he looked like he was in his 80s. Obviously, he wasn't that old. I think he just partied too much. And then a young, really brash Irish party goer. Like, imagine the Irish version of Jim Jeffries, but louder and a little more crazy. All right? So, and both had obviously been drinking. Right? And I mentioned it was only 2 in the afternoon. All right, so the 2 of them sat down and immediately demanded drugs and hookers. Like they were ordering sleaze from a restaurant menu, right? They literally sat down and, put their hand up in the air and said to the old lady who had let us in, as well as their tourist guy, like, we want, bring us some cocaine and, 3 of the hottest girls you can find, right? There's only 2 of them. They ordered 3 chicks. All right, so the local guy saw my friend and me in the same room, and unfortunately, I overheard him. I could hear him saying to the lady, I could hear across the room, I could hear telling him that, and he's saying this in Spanish, that we quote unquote belonged to him. We were his, and that we were going to pay the bill that these two gringo goons were ordering up. That we were responsible for the bill. We were going to foot the bill, and he was going to get a commission at all on all of this. So you can see this crazy situation that's starting to unfold. And it's 2 p.m. All right, so I heard him say this, and this is when I turned to my friend and let him know that we needed to get out of there quickly. Like, we needed to get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, excuse my French, but we need to get out of there, right? So he's like, all right, let's go. So we walked to the front door, and as we're trying to leave, we noticed that the front door was chained and locked shut with a giant like a cartoony padlock. Like, it was huge. And we're trapped inside. Now, this door is one of those sliding grate doors. So it's like with a bike chain or like a pit bull chain and a giant padlock. So we weren't getting out of there. All right, we were trapped inside. They had locked us in, and we were on the hook for God knows how many thousands of dollars. Yes, even in pesos, these guys are racking up thousands of dollars worth of coke and hookers. All right? So we're kind of stuck in there. We're pacing around, and so we decided to sit down and what are you going to do? So we're just, while we're trying to figure out what to do, we're talking to these guys. This old Texan is telling me how he moved from Texas to here, and he's clearly been partying for the last 20 years or God knows what, because he looked like he was 1,000 years old, right? And this Irish guy is busy. He's so drunk. He's telling me about how great Kelsey Grammer is, and I must, as soon as I get home, cue up the show The Boss. Like, he's that lit, right? And they're talking about stupid crap, right? And my buddy's getting into it because he's so excited to see white guys, right? So, they're talking about all sorts of nonsense. It's maybe 20 minutes goes by, and I'm listening to them, trying to be entertained, trying to forget the fact that we're trapped in a pretty crazy situation, and the radio's playing, and it's playing all my favorite, like Romeo Santos and Mark Anthony, and all sorts of fun things are coming on the radio, right? So their girls show up, and it's comically clear to see that these women were not happy at all about having to hang out with a bunch of white guys, right? Like, that's not. I'm sorry to be racist, but that is not anybody's thing, let alone a hot Latino, right? Like, and here's why. Because even though there is stellar music playing on in the background, and these girls were obviously stunningly attractive, right? These were high-end girls. They were fall-out-of-your-chair beautiful. These two idiots and my buddy were only interested in getting wasted on blow and booze and talking about sports and Kelsey Grammer and all sorts of stupid crap. Like, they did not, even though they ordered these girls, they were not paying any attention to them whatsoever. It made no sense. It makes no sense for a brown man's perspective. But white dudes, again, it's going to sound racist, you don't dance, you love to talk with each other, even though there's good music playing and hot girls in the room. Like, none of it makes any sense whatsoever, right? So anyways, I'm still pushing my buddy. I'm like, we got to get out of here because somebody's going to ask for the bill anytime soon, and we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Remember, not too long ago, this local guy has put the bill for these idiots on them, and we are locked inside a cartel house. Right, just to reiterate what's going on. But my buddy at this point is pretty useless because he's not able to sense the warning signs, and he's been drinking a bit and partying it with the dude. And at the sight of these two other white guys, he was just so excited to see other white guys. He just did not want to leave their side, right? And he was just joining in on whatever inane drunken conversation they wanted to have. So I tried to discuss with the lady of the house, the old lady who let us in, that this was all a big mistake, and we need to leave, and we had nothing to do with these guys. It's a load of shit that this guy was telling us. We had nothing to do with these guys. We were just looking around the house. And she was not buying the story at all. She was like, whatever, you sit down, you snort some blow, have sex with some girls. We were not interested in any of this stuff. Seriously, I wanted to get out of there and go home. It's the middle of the afternoon. And long story short, it was pretty clear and obvious that we were going to get shot and murdered that afternoon. That was it. We were going to die. Very quickly, it became a situation of we need to get out of this house somehow and out of this situation, or we are going to die. And we're going to die any minute, like anytime soon. All right, so this is taking a long time for me to... Sorry, I know this is not a very short story. So if you want to hear the rest of this story, subscribe and tune in. Maybe I'll upload another video, or if you cannot wait that long, you can actually read the rest of this story at the Ready for the Red Carpet blog, www.smarturl.it/without-ads, or Google it. All right, so you can also see it on the Skyrock version of the blog where there are ads if you want to see the rest of the story, and can't wait to see how it ends. All right.